now that we have understood how a data set and the problem statement looks like, let's focus upon the next big thing, which is the types of machine learning. Yes, there are different types of machine learning, and there are several algorithms that fall under the different categories of machine learning. And we will try to, kind of create a flow chart, and we'll try to understand what algorithm falls under which category, so that you are able to relate to what kind of problem can be solved using which set of algorithms, right? So let's deep dive into that, and we'll try to firstly understand the major or broad categories that we have under the field of machine learning. So the entire machine learning field, if you see, is actually divided into multiple types. So let's start creating a flow chart here. Okay. um, so we have the entire machine learning umbrella, and within that, or let me put it this way, this entire field is divided into multiple types. Okay, so let me create this. Okay, so the very first category that I would like to highlight over here is the supervised machine learning. Okay, the very first one that I want you to be aware of is the supervised machine learning category. Then we also have something called as the unsupervised machine learning. So let me just write it down over here. Unsupervised machine learning. These are like the two broad categories that we have as part of the machine learning umbrella. But then there is also something known as the semi supervised category. So let me just mention it over here. This is the semi supervised category. Okay. And then there is a fourth category, which is slightly different from the rest of them, which is known as the reinforcement learning. So let me just mention that word here. Reinforcement learning. Okay. So these are the four major categories into which the entire machine learning umbrella can be divided into. And what we are going to discuss as the very first thing is, of course, the crux of each and every category. Like what is, the supervised, semi-supervised, unsupervised, and the reinforcement learning. Now, let me tell you that supervised and unsupervised machine learning are related to, working upon the labeled and the unlabeled kind of data. And we will discuss in detail about, what falls under each and every category and all. But let me highlight that semi-supervised is a, category which is a combination of both supervised and unsupervised. So currently, we do not have any typical algorithms that fall under the semi-supervised category. What we do currently is we combine the unsupervised algorithm and the supervised algorithm together to form a a kind of custom algorithm that is nothing but a semi-supervised kind of an algorithm. But maybe sooner we may have some typical algorithms also that could be listed as part of the semi-supervised category. Okay. And talking about the fourth one here, which is the reinforcement learning, this is a slightly different category because this typically, takes you towards, some reward and penalty based strategy building that we do using the models, where, we can where probably we can compare, or let's say we can differentiate between these categories as supervised and unsupervised kind of categories are those categories where the model will be doing only a one time training, whereas the reinforcement learning is such a category where the model will try to go through that same data multiple number of times, and each time it will try to improve upon its performance, just like how a baby firstly learns to crawl and then starts walking. But as soon as it starts walking, it keeps on falling, but then it keeps on trying again and again. It then successfully it is able to walk very well. So that is the kind of strategy that even the reinforcement learning related models use. So that's where there are certain rewards that are given to the model when they perform or let's say when they predict correct result, or if they are predicting a wrong result, they are also penalized at the same time. So that is the reward and penalty based strategy that it uses. So that's what majorly falls under the reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is a slightly complex process than what you see as part of the supervised and unsupervised. And to be very honest, reinforcement learning is more useful in the world of data mining rather than typically the predictive modeling, because you will see majorly the algorithms that we build as part of the predictive models that we run in the industry. Those are usually either supervised or unsupervised kind of approaches, or even semi-supervised for that matter. But reinforcement learning is more like on the pen and paper during the data mining research and all that we make use of. So that has comparatively less applications. So that's something that I want to discuss as the very first thing with you. So what are the some of the algorithms that fall under reinforcement learning? So I would like to just list a few of them. Like you have something called as q-learning, okay, which is one of the algorithms that could be listed here. You have the sarsa model, which is a like the reward and penalty based strategy that I discussed upon. If you are aware of the hidden markov models, those are also actually a part of the reinforcement learning world, where we try to build those kind of models that are able to identify those hidden patterns and relationships between the data and improvise upon those relationships every time. So there are multiple such algorithms, but I'm just naming a few of the important algorithms, given that this is just a glimpse of the entire machine learning umbrella that we are going to see today. So these are certain models that typically fall under the reinforcement learning category. Now, if you talk about the other major categories, which are, as I said, supervised and unsupervised, these are the major ones. Semi-supervised is just a combination of both of them for now, right? So we will try to understand what is the major difference between supervised and unsupervised first, and then we will deep dive further in order to understand what algorithms fall under supervised versus what algorithms fall under the unsupervised domain. Okay. So if I firstly talk upon the supervised category, this category is where you will be working upon label data. Okay. And we already discussed upon the importance of labeled and unlabeled data, correct? So labeled data is nothing but a data where you have been given the x as well as the y, correct? So you have the independent variables also given to you, and at the same time you also have the dependent variable given to you. So along with the images of the cats and dogs, probably you also have the labels associated that this is a cat or this is a dog. Similarly, the credit card transaction data that we discussed upon, that is where every transaction was flagged as genuine or fraudulent, right? Which would be used as the training data. So that is where we are dealing with label data. Or even for the example of the Titanic data set, for each and every passenger, we were given that the passenger survived or he did not survive. So that is again an example of a labeled data. So when the data is labeled, it is a supervised algorithm that you are supposed to apply. Okay. Whereas when your data is unlabeled, that is where you will try to apply a unsupervised kind of a algorithm. So let me just write down over here that we will be working upon unlabeled data here, where what we will be given is only the x. There will be no y given to you in this case. Okay. So that is where you will be working upon the unlabeled kind of data. Okay. And the algorithms obviously will differ. So now these two categories are further subdivided into certain other categories. So let's try to focus upon the supervised machine learning algorithms first, and then we will move on towards the unsupervised category. Okay. So this field of supervised is further divided into two major subsets, where one is your, let me just draw it correctly. Okay. So this is where the first category that I have, and let me draw another one which I'll try to place here. Okay. So we have two categories here. The first one is regression. Let me drag this a little below. All right, one second. Let me adjust the screen. Yeah. Let's focus on the supervised category. And yes, the first category that we have here is regression. And the second one that we have is the classification. These are the two major categories as part of the supervised machine learning domain. Now, what is the difference between both of them? Let's try to relate to that. So now the difference arises based on the y variable, the nature of the y variable that you are going to work upon. So let's say if your y is going to be continuous in nature, this is where you will apply regression. Okay. Whereas if you have y which is going to be categorical in nature, okay, or even discrete for that matter, that is where you are going to work upon a classification problem. And now let's try to, understand this better. So what do I mean by, this continuous and discrete and categorical data? So if you remember the example that we saw in case of the advertising data, this was where we were trying to predict the sales on the basis of the expenditures incurred onto the different mediums of advertisements, right? So now if you look at the kind of variable that sales is, it is a continuous numerical variable. So this is where you are going to solve a regression problem, and that is where your set of algorithms are going to be slightly different. Okay. Whereas if you look at the other example that we were talking about, which was the Titanic survival prediction related data, so this is where our target variable was survived. And what are the kind of values over here? Either survived or not survived, correct? And this is a typical categorical kind of a variable. So in this kind of situation, what we will be working upon is the classification problem. And that's where you will have to apply a classification related algorithm. Now, similarly, there could also be discrete. Okay? Now, what are discrete values? Discrete values are nothing but finite set of values. So, suppose for example, instead of this survived and not survived, if I had the values, let's say, instead of survived, let me change this values to 1. Okay? Oh, sorry. Let me replace all. Okay? And the rest of the values are not 1, which I'm going to replace with 0. I made a mistake there, but okay, let's rectify. So yeah, so now if you see, this variable has the values present in the form of zeros and ones, which means what? 0 indicates that the passenger will not survive, whereas 1 indicates that the passenger will survive. Now, if you see, this is also a numerical variable, but this is a discrete numerical variable because my survived value prediction will only be either 0 or 1. Can I, get another value being predicted here as 3 or a 4? Not possible, right? Because this is just consisting of two values. The final predicted outcome also should be either of the two values, 0 or 1. So that is where we are talking about a discrete valued numerical variable, where the variable will take a value only from a finite set of values, and that finite set is just 0 and 1 in this case. Okay, so when you have a discrete target variable or a categorical target variable, that is where you are going to work upon a classification kind of a model. Okay, so the algorithms that fall under the classification domain are, again, a different set of algorithms. So let's try to deep dive further, and we will try to understand what are the variables that go under regression and what are the variables that go under classification. So in case of the regression algorithms, the very first algorithm that I want you to remember is the linear regression. Okay, so whenever it comes to you that a data set has a target variable which is, continuous in nature, linear regression is usually the very first thought that comes to anyone's mind. And this is where or let me put it this way, that linear regression is ideally going to be suitable where you are going to work upon such data where the x variables have a linear relationship with the y variable, and that's the place where linear regression will show you good results. And do you remember those words parametric and non-parametric that we discussed some time back? Linear regression is a parametric algorithm. So yes, it relies onto a lot of statistics behind the scenes, and it does a lot of assumption checks before as well as after building the model. So there are some pre-model building assumptions, post-model building assumptions also that can be checked when we are building a linear regression model. So this is where linear regression is one of the most preferred kind of regression algorithms in the industry, and it suits continuous data really very well. Okay, but having said that, it is a kind of algorithm which is based on assumptions. There would be several or let's say that could be a time consuming process that you might observe, because so many assumptions to check, only then we'll be confident enough to go ahead and build the model onto it. And plus, as I said, it is suitable where you have the relationship which is a linear relationship between the x and the y variable, right? Now what if there is no linear relationship between the variables? What if they show a non-linear kind of trend between the x and the y? That's where we have something called as polynomial regression, okay, which is the non-linear regression that we have. So we can use this as an algorithm in order to work upon the non-linear data and try to measure the relationship between the data. So polynomial regression is again yet another type of regression only. And then there are other techniques also, okay, like there are certain um, non-parametric approaches also that you can make use of in order to build a regression model. Like for example, decision trees. This is one of the algorithms which is very commonly used or widely used in the industry, and this is a non-parametric method which does not rely on any of the assumptions, but yet it tries to understand the patterns between the data points, and it helps you build a decision tree, which is more or less like an if else kind of a structure that you build onto the given data. So decision trees, you have a decision trees regressor, okay, which can be used in order to build a regression model for you. Similarly, you also have random forest, which is nothing but a collection of different decision trees. So where a single decision tree usually does not do the required job for you, you can build a collection of decision trees together, which gives you a forest. So random forest is yet another popular name that you have as part of the algorithms of related to the regressor models. So that again could be another approach. Apart from that, you have something called as k nearest neighbor. We call it as the KNN algorithm. So k nearest neighbor regressor is another algorithm that you can probably work upon, which will allow you to build the regression related models. And this algorithm, let me tell you, is more suitable for your what you call it, a noisy kind of data, as well as less amount of data. When you have k nearest neighbor, definitely gives you good results over there. Apart from which, you also have support vector machines, right? So SVM, as we call it, this algorithm also has its own regressor. So you can make use of this algorithm as well in order to build a regression model where your y is continuous. This again is more capable of working upon less amount of data. It is usually not preferred when you have large amount of data, because the training time that is required as part of um, the model building process, that usually is very high, because this works on an n dimensional kind of concept. So the more the amount of data, the difficulty or the complexity level keeps on increasing, and so is the time consumption and the memory resource allocation that is heavy. So that's where SVM, or the support vector machine as we call it, is again a less used algorithm when there is large amount of data. So only suitable for lesser amount is what I would say. So these are certain algorithms, the most important ones that I have listed over here, that allow you to build the regression models and do the predictions on the variable y variable, which is continuous in nature, as we already discussed, right? And then there are other algorithms also. As I said, I'm not listing all of them here, but I'm just trying to focus upon the most commonly known ones as such. But there are other algorithms also that allow you to improvise the linear regression. So, for example, if you remember the tuning phase that we discussed upon, where after evaluating the performance of the very first model that we have built, we try to tune that model in order to get an improved performance, right? So that is where you have algorithms like Ridge, you have Lasso, you have Elastic Net, which is nothing but a combination of both Ridge and Lasso, that can be used in order to kind of help you improvise the regression models. So these are also some other algorithms that you can probably consider under the field of regression. But yeah, this is majorly the list of regression related algorithms that we have, which can be implemented onto any of the data where your target variable is going to be like a continuous numerical variable. Okay. Now, just like we have these set of algorithms listed under the regression category, we also have the categories, we also have the algorithms that fall under the classification category. And this is where we spoke about the y variable being discrete in nature, correct? So, or categorical in nature. So, what exactly does that mean? So, we saw that example that it could take one of the value. So we are trying to classify here, as the name suggests, classification. We are trying to classify a given observation as belonging to either of the class, where regression could predict any continuous value for you as the predicted value. Classification will get you a value out of the given set of values in the y variable. So let's say, for example, if I made the model learn upon those images of cats and dogs as the animals, right? Whenever I feed it any of the image, be it of any animal, it will always try to give me the value as either cat or a dog. It can't give me an elephant there, right? Because it never got trained on elephant. It never came across that particular value in the target or the dependent variable. So it does not know that there is something called as elephant that exists. So it will always end up giving me either of the values that are present in the target variable. That's the reason it is said as classification, because we are trying to classify it as either cat or a dog. It can't be both, right? Or it can't be a third animal there. So the same way, just like we saw the Titanic data set, we can either classify any passenger as will survive or will not survive. There is nothing in between there, correct? So that is the kind of category that classification is related to. And with respect to classification, then there are several algorithms that we have over here. So let me list a few of the algorithms here, where the very first algorithm that comes to anyone's mind when it is a classification kind of a problem, it's logistic regression. This is pretty much similar to linear regression, and even though the word regression still exists over there, it is not a regression algorithm, but it is a classification algorithm. And let me tell you that this algorithm is mainly suitable for binary classification data, where your target variable has just two values. Okay, so like the example that we discussed related to the credit card fraud detection, where there were only two values, genuine or fraudulent. Similarly, the Titanic data example, where the passenger will either survive or not survive. So wherever there are binary classes, right, in the data, only two classes, that is where logistic regression is a preferred choice, because it has proved itself over the period of time that when it comes to binary kind of a classification problem, logistic regression usually outperforms the other models. So that is something that logistic regression is popularly known for. But let me tell you, it is something that is derived on the basic principles of linear regression only. So behind the scene, what happens is still linear regression, but yes, it's a classification kind of algorithm. And when we discuss these algorithms in detail a little bit at a later stage, so that's where we will try to explore a little more about this algorithm as such. Okay. Now, the other few algorithms that I'm going to list here are similar to what we saw in the category of regression. It's just that these algorithms can actually be used for both the purposes, regression as well as classification. So, algorithms like your decision trees come over here as well, because we have a decision tree regressor as well as a decision tree classifier. I'm just writing it in short right now, but I hope you are able to relate to it. So we have the decision tree classifier, which is an algorithm that can help you work upon the classification kind of problems. Similarly, we also have the random forest classifier, which can again help you work upon the classification kind of problems. So both decision trees, random forest, and even the other algorithms that we discussed, like the k nearest neighbor classifier, is also another algorithm that will allow you to work on both regression as well as classification. And similarly, the svm classifier is also another algorithm that will allow you to classify the data very well. Not to forget, there is also something called as naive bayes classifier, which is usually a kind of algorithm that is used to classify the data, uh, usually text data, where you have some sentimental data and you want to classify it as positive, negative sentiments. That is when naive bayes classifier is also another classification algorithm that is slightly more suitable. So yeah, these are some of the common names. There are of course names beyond this which I have not listed here, but these are some of the prominently used algorithms under the field of regression as well as classification.